How is it going? And thank you for tuning in this video. Today I'm here to give you guys my AEW Revolution 2023 DVD review. Of course, I attended this event live, which is the reason why I own the DVD. It took AEW 9 months to put it out. You know, they finally put this event out, a part of their Black Friday sale, along with a few other shows that, you know, they've been meaning to put out. But I'm finally glad to own it, and I'm glad I got it as soon as it came out because this DVD actually sold out within a week. So I'm glad to have gotten it. I like to own the events I attended, so it definitely was a must for me. I do wish, however, though, this was a Blu-ray. I don't understand how we're almost in 2024 and we're still getting DVDs over Blu-rays. I understand they're cheaper to produce, but come on, we got to get that quality. We got to get Blu-rays out there. If you can make All In 2018 have a DVD and a Blu-ray, I don't understand why you can't have your actual pay-per-view events under the AEW name have Blu-ray and DVDs as well. So just a little gripe. Wish it was a Blu-ray, but like I said, I'm still glad to have the DVD version of it just to, you know, own the event. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Of course, here is the DVD cover here, which is basically the pay-per-view poster. You got the Revolution logo. You got Bryan Danielson and MJF on the cover, as well as Chris Jericho, Ricky Starks. You got Moxley and Page, Joe, Wardlow, and Saraya, Jamie Hayter, and Ruby Soho with the Chase Center in the background. Of course, it was on March 5th, 2023. So yeah, great looking poster here. I love with the city theme and everything in San Francisco. I thought it was a really nice, very basic poster, but it's very nice in my opinion. And of course, here is the spine right here, what it looks like when you have it on your shelf. And then when you open up, of course, you just got the 2-disc right here. You got, you know, a little Better Than You logo right there for MJF. You just have buildings in the background, nothing really, you know, significant behind the disc. So I'm not really gonna take them out. I do like these DVD plastic, not plastic, but cardboard sets. I have always liked these, but the one thing I do dislike about them, actually it's two things I dislike about them, is one, if these things break, you're screwed. There's nothing you can do about it, because with regular DVD cases, at least you can swap them out, right? But if this breaks, you're fucked. And another thing is, you know, the cardboard can easily be ruined. It can be damaged in shipping. It can just be completely screwed up. So as much as I like these casings, they can be very easily destroyed, and they can very easily just not look nice in my opinion. But nonetheless, they still look good. I still like them, but like I said, they have their flaws. And of course, here's the back here. Really nice back, actually. The details, you got the American Dragon right there. You got generational talent for MJF, a picture of MJF, and as well Bryan Danielson. You have the Iron Man match, of course, with the Chase Center in the background. So yeah, great looking DVD cover and back art in my opinion. It's very basic, like I said, not really much to it, but it's a little stuff like, you know, stuff like that makes it in my opinion. And of course, here is the entire match card on the show, as well as the extras. Honestly, this didn't need to be a 2-disc set. This could have been a 1-disc set, because the entire event is on disc 1 and disc 2 is just the extras, which they're nice to have, but they weren't really needed in my opinion. You do have, like, as you can see right there, the Countdown to Revolution extended cut, which is a 26-minute extended cut of, you know, whatever they put on YouTube. And then I thought it was just originally just the match for 0 Hour, but they actually had the entire 0 Hour on there. I mean, when you click on it, it goes right to the match, but the entire 0 Hour show is on there. So if you ever want to watch the entire 0 Hour show for whatever reason, you can do it on this set. But yeah, going into the matches now and the show itself, watching it back, I mean, being there live, it was an amazing show. I enjoyed the hell of it. That was a lot of fun. And watching it back, it was just as amazing in my opinion. This was a fantastic show. Almost 4 hours, but the entire show flies right by. Everything on this card, in my opinion, there wasn't one bad match. There was, you know, a weaker match, I thought. But for the most part, everything flew by. Everything had a good pacing to it. There wasn't anything that felt long, and which is something that I typically have an issue with AEW pay-per-views. I feel like a lot of things typically drag out and feel very long. But I feel like in this show, everything just kind of flew by and had a very nice flow to it and had a very nice pacing. So Revolution 2023, the whole show in general, I thought was amazing. I thought it was a fantastic show. And it was definitely a hell of a time rewatching it. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Briefly cover the 0 Hour match with the Lucha Brothers and Mark Briscoe taking on Ari Daivari and the Varsity Athletes. This was a fine match. The only complaint I really had was that the Lucha Brothers just did not have any chemistry with their opposing team. There was a spot where Penta was supposed to have his comeback, but literally everyone that he's supposed to have his comeback on just like kind of froze and didn't know what to do. Phoenix was being too fast for some of them. They couldn't keep up with the moves he was doing, so they were kind of botching some of the stuff. So that was just little things nitpicking at it. But once Mark Briscoe got the hot tag, it was very fun. I thought he had a really good interaction with Ari Daivari and Varsity Athletes, and I thought the final stretch of this match was entertaining. Mark Briscoe got the win with the bogey elbow and got the win. So yeah, I mean, it was a fine match. Nothing, to go out of your way to see, but it was fun. And then, of course, we went to the main show, which opened up with Ricky Starks taking on Chris Jericho with JAS banned from ringside. This was a really good opener. Jericho took control early on, worked over Starks, but Starks was able to get, his comeback, and they were able to go back and forth for a good while and have some a pretty good match for the most part. I thought it was really enjoyable, especially the final stretch of it. A lot of near falls. Starks putting Jericho in the walls of Jericho, which led to Sammy Guevara jumping down the ramp like an idiot until Action Andrade took him out and tackled him, and then they brawled to the back, which led Jericho to take the bat and hit Ricky Starks with it, but Starks kind of no-sold it, and when Jericho went for the Judas Effect, blocked it, and then ended up hitting his finish on Jericho for the victory. So yeah, really good opening match. Really enjoyed it. I thought, honestly, watching it back was probably better than I thought it was live. I just thought they had pretty good chemistry, and it was an enjoyable opener. I liked it. Next, we had the Final Burial, Christian Cage versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry. I remember this live being good. I just wasn't that much into it, but watching it back, I had a lot of fun. This was a fun match. It wasn't a wrestling clinic, but these guys are just beating the hell out of each other, brawling everywhere around ringside, brawling up to the stage. You felt the heat in the match, and I thought it was really good. Christian's just a fantastic heel, and I've been loving his stuff ever since this feud, really. He's just been absolutely amazing to this day. So Christian was great. A spot where, Jack Perry tried to slam Christian Cage onto the steps, but Christian Cage just wiped his feet, and he just went back first into the steps, which was absolutely painful. They brought up into the stage where of course the casket was at, where he had to throw him in there. They brought up there Christian Cage with the Imperator on Jack Perry, which thought was going to be it. Went for the concerto, but Jack Perry got out of the way, ended up hitting the chair out of Christian's hand with a shovel, and then putting him in the STF and choking him out with the shovel. And then Jack Perry ended up hitting him with the concerto to put Christian Cage into the casket, and paid his final respects by crossing his arms, kissing him on the forehead, and closing the casket. And Jack Perry defeats Christian Cage. Like I said, I thought it was a very fun match. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, it wasn't a wrestling clinic, but if you want to watch a nice brawl and a nice fight, this definitely was that, in my opinion. So Christian Cage and Jack Perry, good stuff. Next on the DVD listing, this isn't the order of the show, but this is just, I'm just going to go in the order they have it listed here because it's just easier for me. You had the Texas Death Match between Hangman Adam Page and Jon Moxley. These two just beat the holy shit out of each other right from the get-go. These two were bleeding like crazy, like 2-3 minutes into the match. Like, immediately these two were gushing out blood, and they were just using any weapon they could to beat the shit out of each other with. At one point, Adam Page, which an idea, it seemed like a good spot, but to me, the way it came off wasn't that great. They did a spot where Hangman Page took barbed wire and wrapped it around himself and did a moonsault to the outside on the Moxley with it. But the problem was he didn't really hit Moxley that well. Moxley didn't fully catch him, so it looked like he just damaged Page more than it damaged Moxley. So, like I said, idea, it sounded great, or it could have been great, but the execution wasn't the greatest in my opinion. At one point, Moxley ended up hitting the paradigm shift onto Hangman Adam Page, as well as a curb stomp immediately following, which I thought was great. Everyone started singing Seth Rollins' theme. At one point, Moxley even put Page's hands between two bricks and stomped on it, which looked pretty damn painful. Just pretty much these two beating the shit out of each other with, any weapon they could find. A lot of barbed wire. There's a barbed wire table that was the outside that Moxley got pushed through, and it took him a second to sell it because it's kind of like one of those spots where he didn't realize what happened, and all of a sudden it just kicked in, like, oh shit, I'm through barbed wire. So I thought that was a nice little touch on his behalf. But yeah, this definitely led to the Texas Death Match. One thing I didn't like, and this is kind of my gripe with a lot of last man standing matches in general, is when the referee gets to the 8 count and they're not even moving, but then all of a sudden they start twitching, and then once 9 hits, they magically just pop up on their feet. I don't like that. I like the slow build of them slowly getting to their feet. So maybe around 5 or 6, and they start moving and slowly crawling, getting up. I think that's more, I don't like to say realistic, but I like that more. But here it was just, up until 8, 9, then all of a sudden they just pop back on their feet, which kind of annoyed me, but it was what it was. I'm not going to let that damage the match because of a nitpick. But yeah, ending came with Hangman Adam Page choking out Moxley with or actually he hit a pile driver. I think was it Moxley hit a pile driver on him, or Hangman hit a pile driver? Someone hit someone with a pile driver on top of the chain. I don't remember who hit who. My memory's going a little foggy on that. But I remember Paige ended up hitting the buckshot lariat on Moxley, and Moxley ends up flying over the ropes. And then Paige, you know, obviously ties his neck with the chain and ends up choking Moxley out. And Moxley, of course, taps out to Adam Page. So, yeah, I love the finish. I thought that was a great finish too. It was a phenomenal match. These two went out there and just beat the holy hell out of each other, and definitely was a bloodbath. And yeah, it was intense. Next, we had the TNT Championship, Samoa Joe versus Wardlow. This is definitely the weakest match in the entire show, if you ask me. And there just wasn't any heat to it, and it was just very basic stuff. A lot of just holds, and, you know, Joe and Wardlow getting their signature stuff in, like Joe doing the choke, Wardlow, you know, hitting a swanton, Joe going for the muscle buster, but Wardlow countering it into a power bomb. Just their basic stuff, and nothing really too exciting happened here. And the finish was very anticlimactic too. You know, Wardlow had Joe in a choke and wrapped his legs around him, and then Joe eventually just passed out, and the referee called for the bell. So Wardlow became a brand new TNT champion, which was the right to call there. But, you know, obviously he lost the title to Powerhouse Hobbs, that Dynamite, following this show. So, yeah, it was an average match. It wasn't bad or anything, but like I said, in my opinion, definitely the weakest match on the entire show. AEW World Tag Team Championship, the Guns versus the Acclaim versus Danhausen and Orange Cassidy versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. As random as this match was, like this entire tag match was just so incredibly random, I thought it was a lot of fun. You know, I didn't really care for it live, but watching it back, I enjoyed it a lot more. I thought it was very fun. Everyone had their moments to shine. Obviously, you got some comedy stuff with, you know, Orange Cassidy and Danhausen. Early on, you know, Orange Cassidy had his hands in his pocket and everyone kept charging him, and he kept backdropping everybody, which you would think everyone would realize was going to happen, but for some reason everyone just still kept charging him. And like I said, everyone got their spots in. You know, the Guns were able to showcase their skills. The Acclaim had their moment where, you know, everyone thought they're going to win. You know, Danhausen and Orange Cassidy had their moment. Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal had their moment. So I thought it was a very fun match, you know, nonetheless. Funny spot, which I absolutely loved, was Billy Gunn hitting the Famouser on Satnam Singh. I just thought the way that came off was hilarious when Billy Gunn essentially landed on top of his head. So fun match, really enjoyable. Ending came with Danhausen. He was the legal man with the Guns, and the Guns then pinned 310 Yuma on him for the 1, 2, 3 to retain the tag team title. So the Guns retain, and of course afterwards, this is where, you know, FTR make the return. They take out the Guns, and obviously that would lead to their title versus career match, in which FTR beat them for the tag team titles. So yeah, fun match nonetheless. And then we lead into the AEW World Trios Championship, the Elite versus House of Black. This was a great match here. Definitely was, you know, I don't want to say a barn burner, but it was crash and burn, man. It was just all over the place. It was nonstop action. It was very fast paced. A lot of great spots, especially the stuff with Malachi Black and Kenny Omega. Their exchange was excellent. They were just going at each other's throats, and then, you know, spot where they both double kneed each other and took each other out. That was a great spot. Love the spot too with Brody King, you know, trying to choke out Matt Jackson or Nick Jackson, one of them, on the apron, and the other one ended up hitting him with a super kick. Julia Hart got involved towards the end where she was on the apron and, you know, tried to distract, but then, you know, leading to Kenny Omega hitting a V-trigger on her, and she actually just took it like an absolute champ. So that was a great spot. And it was just a lot of chaos, and it was a nice little sprint, if you ask me, and they got to the point where just everyone was getting involved. So that's one thing in AEW that you can count on. The referees not enforcing any type of rules whatsoever. And that definitely was the case here once, you know, everyone was kind of brawling. But the finish was great, though. The finish was, you know, the Young Bucks going for the Meltzer driver. But when Nick went for the jump, Buddy Matthews came out of nowhere and just eviscerated him with the knee. Malachi Black hit Matt Jackson with the spin kick, which allowed Brody King to hit the Dante's Inferno for the 1, 2, 3, and House of Black are your brand new World Trios champions. Like I said, great match, great sprint. Everyone got their spots in, and there's a lot of great stuff, and I really enjoyed that one. And then following that, we had the AEW Women's World Championship, Jamie Hayter versus Ruby Soho versus Saraya. So this was actually the first time I saw this match, because when this match happened, I used it as a bathroom and merch break. So I didn't see anything besides the last few minutes of this match once I got back to my seat. But watching it for the first time, I actually thought it was a pretty damn good match. It was very fast paced. You know, each woman were able to showcase their stuff, and it wasn't like one of those matches where it'd be like one-on-one where one person was kind of just chilling. It was, everyone was going at it at the same time. You know, one person got taken out immediately, you know, the other person started going with the other person, but then the third person would get back involved. It was a legit three-way match, and it wasn't just like a one-on-one until someone got taken out and then, you know, the other person substituted for that one person. It was, you know, all three of them going at it. And, you know, they brawled to the outside, went to the crowd, did the Tower of Doom spot. I just thought it was, you know, a fast-paced, a lot of near falls. You know, everyone almost got a near fall at one point. I thought it was really good. You know, the women's division AEW doesn't get talked about highly, but watching this, you know, I thought it was one of the better matches for sure this year, in my opinion. So, good stuff. Ending came with Jamie Hayter trying to hit the Haterade clothesline on Ruby Soho, but she ducked and she ended up hitting Saraya. And then Ruby Soho tried to roll her up, but then Jamie Hayter countered that into a crucifix pin, and Jamie Hayter ended up pinning Ruby Soho to retain the Women's World Championship. And then, of course, afterwards this match, that's what led into the formation of the Outcasts. You know, Ruby Soho turned on Jamie and Britt Baker, and then, you know, Saraya and Toni Storm got involved in beatdown, and that's when the Outcasts got formed right there. So heel turn for Ruby. Like I said, good match. You know, it wasn't much to say about it, but like I said, I thought all of them worked hard. It was a nice sprint and a lot of fun near falls. And of course, go to the main event and match of the night, the AEW World Championship 60-minute Iron Man match. MJF taking on Bryan Danielson. This match was just phenomenal. I can't speak highly enough of this match. And I'll be honest, I've always disliked MJF. To the point where I didn't watch his stuff. Whenever he's on TV, I turned the channel. I legitimately refused to watch him because I thought he was that overrated. This match won me over in a sense that I can watch him now. Now, I'm not saying I'm a fan of MJF now, but he definitely earned my respect in this match with Danielson, and I thought him and Danielson had a terrific 60-minute Iron Man match. Probably, I know people are saying it's the best Iron Man match of all time, and I honestly wouldn't argue that. This was just spectacular, you know, and it flew by. It didn't feel like 60 minutes. It felt like, you know, a regular 20-minute match. It didn't seem that long at all, and it was fantastic. You know, it took like 25 minutes even for the first fall for Danielson to get the Bicycle knee on MJF, him with it 1-0, but then MJF ended up blowing Danielson to give Danielson another fall because there are DQs. So Danielson got 2, which I remember at the time when it happened, I was mildly confused because it's not like they rang the bell between falls. So when the DQ happened, I didn't know it was a DQ. So I remember being very confused how Danielson got 2 falls when it first happened. But obviously watching it, you know, they explained it on commentary what happened, and you know what happened. But Danielson was up 2-2, but then MJF covered Danielson twice immediately from the low blow. So I loved on commentary, they made sure to note it that, you know, in this match, even though he sacrificed the fall of that DQ, he was able to pick up 2 falls when he pinned Danielson immediately following that. So good stuff there. And then it was a while again until we got a 3rd fall, which MJF got with the Heat Seeker pile driver on Danielson, so he ended up getting a fall right there. But then later on, Danielson ended up getting a fall with the running knee, followed by the Regal stretch in which MJF tapped. So we ended up getting 3-3 with about 10 minutes left in the Iron Man match. And the last 10 minutes were just as good, you know. There was a lot of great spots. Love the spot the outside where MJF put Danielson through the table, but then he picked Danielson up and then pile drove him through the rest of the table that wasn't broken. Great spot there. Danielson did a headbutt, which I don't know how the hell this would have happened, but MJF bladed very, very, very bad. Danielson does a headbutt, and then all of a sudden, MJF is just, his face is covered in blood. Legit crimson mask. Like, I had no idea how a headbutt would have created that, but, you know, let's just go with it here. But towards the end, MJF hits a huge pile driver off the 2nd rope on Danielson, but he can't cover him because he's selling the knee, which was one thing he did sell during the duration of the match was the knee, because he kept doing moves that would fall on that knee, and he kept selling it. So I thought MJF did a great job selling it. And then, you know, he took a long time to cover Danielson, but of course Danielson was able to kick out of it. But then Danielson was able to put MJF in a single leg Boston Crab. And then he had him in that for like a minute and a half. That was the last, you know, minute of the match, was Danielson having MJF in that Boston leg crab, because, you know, everyone's hoping he's going to tap out. But, you know, MJF doesn't tap out. The time expires, which MJF then immediately taps out because obviously the match is over. It's not going to count. And then you think, okay, this match is a draw. They announced the match is a draw. But then Shivani comes to ringside, which I love Excalibur. I really have. But he needs to shut the hell up sometimes. Like, when the match is over, you can hear Shivani going, oh, yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, okay. Like, you can tell he's trying to make it known he's talking to Tony Khan. But Excalibur will not shut the fuck up. He keeps talking and talking and talking and talking. There's a point where Shivani has to play it out longer, because it's like you can't hear Shivani. You can't make out that he's talking to somebody because Excalibur won't shut the hell up. So that's a little thing. I just wanted to know. I just thought that was kind of like, really? you Excalibur, like, come on, man. It's obvious they were trying to make, you know, Schiavone make it known that he was talking to Tony Khan on commentary, but you just wouldn't shut up. So that dragged it out for like another minute or two. They had to wait for Schiavone to come down. So, of course, after doing that, they got a freaking oxygen tank in the ring with MJF. They're making it seem like these two are dead from 60 minutes, but obviously the match restarts, and they go for another 5 minutes, which I thought was very exciting because they did everything they could to put everything against MJF. They made it to where, you know, MJF tried to grab the title and hit Danielson with it to cause a DQ, but the referee's like, hey, man, you realize you hit him with the title and you get DQ'd. He gets a point and he wins the match and he's a champion, right? So go ahead, hit him with the goddamn belt. I don't care. And then, of course, he gives a belt to the referee, but then he puts his diamond ring on, tries to Danielson with it, but Danielson ducks and puts him in a submission, and the referee sees the ring on him, so he takes the ring off. So they literally did everything they could to put everything against MJF to make it legitimately seem like Danielson had a chance of winning. But, of course, Danielson had MJF in a submission, and MJF got to the ropes. Or Danielson had him in the Boston Leg Crab, and MJF got to the ropes, but Bryan doesn't see it because his back's turned to him. So MJF taps out, and Danielson just hears the tap out. So Danielson thinks he won, and then as he's like, oh, I won, the referee's like, no, he didn't. He had the ropes. MJF rolls to the outside, and as Danielson tries to get him, MJF takes the oxygen tank that was there, absolutely wails Danielson with it. Of course, the referee doesn't see, throws it back under the ring, gets back in the ring, puts Danielson in the label lock, and then after a little while, Danielson finally taps out and MJF retains the AEW World Championship. Like I said, just a phenomenal 6-minute Iron Man match. The match itself was amazing. And then, you know, as much as I don't think the 5-minute overrun or sudden death was needed, I definitely think it added that excitement that, oh shit, maybe Danielson's going to win, because they put, like I said, they put everything against MJF. Like he had no advantage in those last 5 minutes, but yet he was able to pull through and retain the championship. So, yeah, MJF retains the championship to end the show. And like I said, all in all, Revolution, the whole show was just phenomenal. I thought it was a great pay-per-view. Definitely had a great time being there and had a lot of fun watching it back. Like I said, the show was almost 4 hours. I think it was like 3:48 was the runtime, and it flew by. It didn't feel like a 4-hour show by any means, and trust me, some of these AEW shows feel like 4-hour shows, and this definitely wasn't one of them. Phenomenal pay-per-view in my opinion. Not, you know, trying to be biased, but I had a great time watching it back. I do wish, though, with the extras, because like I said, the only extras on here are the countdown and the 0 hour. I wish they would have put like the casino battle royal they had for the tag team, as well as the Face of Revolution ladder match from Dynamite before. I wish they would have put those matches on there, as well as maybe the Powerhouse Hobbs and Wardlow Falls Count Anywhere match from the Dynamite after that, just to, you know, put some more stuff on the disc, just for, you know, just to get more out of the disc, I guess, and more extras out of it. I wish they would have added more to it, but nonetheless, you know, I don't really care for the extras. Like I said, they were just there, really. I'm not going to go back and watch these probably, but I mainly own this for the show. Like I said in the beginning, though, I just wish they would have put out a Blu-ray, because, I mean, the quality isn't bad on it. When watching it, the quality didn't seem bad by any means. But I will say, though, the DVD menu legit seems like something I can make out of iMovie. Like, it's literally just the logo, and then you go to the matches, it's just like the match card graphics, and like you click the graphics. Like, it literally looks like something you can make on iMovie. So it does look cheap, but like I said, when it comes down to it, it's about the event, and since I was there, I'm glad to own it, and I'm glad to have it in my collection. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, please feel free to like below. Like I said, I thought Revolution was a phenomenal show, and I'm really glad to have attended it as well as owning it. And yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. And of course, until next time, I'll see you guys then.